My brother Joe has an imaginary problem. And when I say imaginary problem...
Come on! Bring back the stick!
I don't mean he's some kind of chronic worrier or inventing troubles for himself that don't exist.
Where's the stick? You didn't bring back the stick! Oh, it's okay, girl. It's okay. You'll get it right someday.
I mean, he literally has an imaginary problem.
Yeah, so if you haven't guessed, my brother still has an imaginary friend. Or rather, in this case, an imaginary pet. And he's perfectly open about it. I just don't understand. I don't understand how he can subject himself to that kind of ridicule. If I still had an imaginary friend at my age, wouldn't it be better in the long run to ignore it? Maybe then eventually it'd go away. Or maybe I could keep my pet for private. It's not like there's anything wrong with not acknowledging it in public. It's not like it has any real feelings to hurt, right? People just wouldn't understand, and they think I'm crazy. Anyway, that's just my situation. Well, it's my perspective on the situation. But I don't want to be just another judgmental jerk to my brother. I want to understand why he continues to keep his imaginary pet in the way that he does. I want to see and help others see how he could possibly be happy living his life differently than mine, to see how all that trouble could somehow be worth it. That's why I'm doing this film. Well, there he goes. Off to work. At least his overactive imagination doesn't affect him professionally. They only allow service animals there. Okay. Now for the fun part. Now, I don't want anyone thinking that I'm doing this behind my brother's back. Joe knows all about this project. He was even really excited for me when I told him I was doing it. Backs me up 100%. It's just that for this part of the project, I thought it would be better if my brother wasn't home. Dad? Will you come here for a moment, please? I want to talk to you about this video I'm making. I want to thank you for agreeing to talk with me about this, Dad. I know it's not an easy subject to broach.
Yeah, I know. If I'd known it would have caused all these problems all these years later, I would have taken you and your brother to that animal shelter that day you wanted a dog.
Oh, Joe asked for a dog, Dad. I wanted a cat.
Whatever. So do you really think you'd be able to help your brother with his delusion by making this video?
Well, Dad, Joe seems pretty set in his ways. I'm making this video so that we might understand Joe, so we can learn to accept him better.
Then why am I here?
Well, I want to help Joe with his...
Your brother is just as smart as you are. And you got through your imaginary friend phase just like any other kid. Why can't he? It's crazy. How can I tell people that my grown son thinks his imaginary dog is real? There's only so many years you can tell people, oh, he's studying mine, before they get suspicious. I've tried everything. I've tried everything to try to make him understand how he's hurting and embarrassing this family. But he won't listen, and there's nothing I can do. Because he's over 18, and those quacks say, oh, he doesn't pose a threat to society. Megan, I'm frustrated beyond words. And you want us to understand him better. You know I blame those quacks, and I blame Obamacare.
Yeah, so that's sort of what we've always been dealing with at home. You certainly couldn't blame someone living in that sort of environment for hiding an imaginary pet, now can you? And yet Joe doesn't. He's either crazy brave or just plain crazy, huh? Well, obviously Joe isn't drawing his strength or encouragement from my house, so I wanted to see if there was anyone else in the family who did not try to stifle Joe. Someone with a more favorable opinion about Joe's delusions. I went to my Aunt Diane's house. So, Aunt Diane, you're okay with the idea of an adult having an imaginary pet?
Well, for an adult to have an imaginary friend is uncommon. But when you think about it, not at all unusual.
Really?
Is it unusual for a character in a book to take on a life of its own for an adult reader or author?
No.
Is fantasizing yourself in any kind of relationship with a celebrity an unusual occurrence for an adult?
No. I mean, it's only a problem when that person starts thinking they can make that fantasy a reality.
That's true. The point is, adults are always trying to live out their fantasies. They paint, play video games, act, are amateur race car drivers on the weekends. Some people think them silly for those things, but none of those things are bad. They only become an issue if that fantasizing brings harm to themselves or others. In that light, an invisible dog is pretty benign.
Hey, sis. Look, I know you're working hard on this project right now, but, I thought maybe you'd like to just, take a break and come have some fun. You know my friend Logan? Well, he and I go to the same dojo, and we're going to meet in the park today to improve my Tai Chi. You can bring your camera.
Nice to finally meet you, Logan, and thanks again for agreeing to participate in my project.
Pleasure's all mine.
So, you know that Joe has a dog that no one else can see but him.
Yes?
And you aren't bothered or worried about his well-being or judge him for that?
Well, as a fitness instructor, I understand that a lot of health problems are deeply rooted in the physical world. But as a student of Tai Chi, I'm always trying to strike a healthy balance between the physical realm and the energies of an unseen world. Tangible or not to others, they're still quite real to me. And believing that doesn't diminish or invalidate me. So if Joe has an imaginary dog, that's fine by me. Just so long as the dog's well trained enough to not disrupt what I'm trying to teach Joe.
Okay, so after Tai Chi practice, Joe said there was one more place he wanted to take me, but first he has to go inside and see if everyone involved is okay with me having my camera there. So now we play the waiting game. Looks like I got the all clear. Okay. See you inside.
I'd like to thank you again for agreeing to answer some of my questions, Rob.
Oh, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have tonight, Megan.
Okay, well, down to business. So this is a support group where people can come and talk about the troubles that come with having imaginary pets.
Oh no, we never use that word here. We say invisible pets. Imaginary implies that the experiences the owners are having with their pets isn't real. And argue one way or another that these unseen pets exist, they're very much real to their owners, and an important and positive part of their lives. We wouldn't want to disregard or discredit something like that.
Sorry I'm late. Crazy traffic.
Oh, sorry. We switched rooms tonight. You'll have to go down the hall for the problems with imaginary numbers group. Better projector in there. So I believe you had some questions you wanted to ask our group tonight as well.
Yes, well, maybe a couple of members could tell me about life with their imaginary pets, invisible pets.
Well, when I was younger, I used to have a lot of self-esteem issues. And I kind of had this invisible buzzard on my shoulder named Superego, or so said my psychologist.
That's a bit of a different thing, Jim. But go on.
That bird made me feel just awful about myself. Anyway, one day I decided I deserved a better feathery fowl. So I swapped him out for this nice little duck named Super Dude. He's shy and doesn't like the spotlight much, but that's all right. Since this little fella came along, I've been outgoing enough for the both of us.
I used to have too many invisible pets. Having a herd of miniature alpaca are fine when you're a lonely kid growing up on a farm, but once I grew up and moved to the city, it became unmanageable. I tried to ignore the space issue, but I was at my wit's end. What was I supposed to do? Say goodbye to my oldest and dearest friends because they were too numerous to fit into my normal adult life? I mean, it's all or none, right? Then I met some like-minded people here, and I learned that I don't have to say goodbye to the best parts of my childhood to be an adult. I could have a happy middle. In fact, it was Bev here who I have to thank for that revelation. She told me that if I could ask my invisible pets for help as a child, then why couldn't I do it as an adult? So I did, and we came up with a solution. Now, when there's not enough room for them all, they combine into one big alpaca. They often get mistaken for a llama now, but they don't mind. We're still together.
I used to have an invisible monitor lizard named Snuffles. At first, my mother tried to get me to ignore him. When that didn't work, she made me set him free in the backyard. Mom didn't want me to have Snuffles in the house, or at all. He never came back after that. I'm still bitter about it. So I come here now for the same reason you have, to show everyone support and get the support that I never had. You know, people don't always have imaginary friends forever, but they should be allowed to enjoy them while they still have them. Because in the grand scheme of things, what's the real harm in it?
Wow. Thank you, all of you, very much. Those were some pretty insightful stories. Admirable. Brave, even.
Sis, are you okay?
coward.
No. I think you're a lot braver than you give yourself credit for. And doing this project alone says that.
I still have an imaginary pet. Okay? There, I said it.
I know, sis. Go easy on yourself. How could you feel comfortable publicly when you couldn't even acknowledge it privately? Hmm?
Hey. Hi, everybody. Well, you know me already. I'm Megan, but what you might not know about me is that I'm proud to say that I still have an imaginary, invisible pet.
Yeah, sis.